So I've heard some interesting conversations today and been part of an interesting conversation. I'm at a dig near Jerusalem, and I'm working with some Germans and some Czechs and some people from Canada and a few Americans and some people from South America, Austria, Brazil, I think, and I may have missed some. But I was on site getting ready for the day, and one of the professors slash assistants, an older gentleman, was watching some of the new people that we had volunteer for like today and tomorrow, and he said they were a bit too pious for him, and he said, "I'm a Lutheran priest, but they're even too pious for me." And I was, just kind of sitting there listening, and he was talking to someone else when he was saying this, but I was right there. And then, he said, you got to do more working and less praying, or more this and less praying. And I thought, okay, so what does your life hinge on if you're not talking? I was very confused by the conversation and the way it went, and what the point of it was, other than just self-dependence. And then I came back to the hotel. We're actually staying at a convent, and it's quite lovely. It's beautiful grounds. But anyway, I came into the registration desk to ask about something, and one of the ladies there started talking, and it just went into a kind of a gospel conversation, which was awesome because I love those moments. But she said the one verse that she hangs on is when Jesus said, "I came that they may have life." And I said, so you believe that Christ is the only way to heaven? And she said, no. And so it was a very, it's not an unusual conversation, but she kept saying that she was going to follow Christ in life. And I said, well, what happens when your physical body dies? And she said that she would follow Christ. And I said, but if he says that he's the only way to God, to heaven, to the Father, and you follow him, but what righteousness will you stand in? Because you may follow his example in life. You may do the things that he did, but if you don't accept his sacrificial atonement, his replacement for you on the cross, his bearing of your sins, his intercession on your behalf, his righteousness is imputed to me when I accept his atoning sacrifice and surrender to him as Lord. And she went on about some stuff, and I kept saying, but what righteousness will you have before God when you're judged? She said, I don't know anything about righteousness or sacrifice. I don't go like that. And I kept thinking, well, your life only goes so far if you don't know Christ. Because once your body dies, your soul will spend eternity separate from Christ. But if you have the atoning sacrifice and you're in a relationship with Christ and you've surrendered to him, that is the only way you can go from life to life. So amongst the convent ladies and the schools that are here, it's interesting because a lot of the students, the majority of students here, are taking theology, but they're taking it because it's like an extracurricular, and because they have to take 2 courses at a certain level in education. Theology is the one thing that is constantly and continuously offered for them. Only probably 2 or 3 of them have the intention of going into ministry, but even then, when I talk to them about serious things, it seems that they have no concept as to answering for what we do here. Like, we want justice on earth, then we should expect justice in the afterlife as well. But having said that, when you acknowledge that there is an ultimate justice and an ultimate truth, that means that you acknowledge that someone is passing the law and enacting the law. And if you discard that, then you don't have to worry about justice, and you don't have to worry about what you do, and you don't have to worry about who you answer to. But once you acknowledge that there is an objective truth and someone to enact that objective truth and judge your life based off of that standard of truth, you have to answer for everything from the moment you say, yes, there is an ultimate truth, and he has a name. And he will be the one that I stand before. And I couldn't help it, because it just breaks my heart that people think that you can do life or death without Jesus Christ, because you can't. You can't. Just want to share that with y'all. So this dig has been a bit rough starting, but these conversations today were awesome for the sole purpose of giving me something to pray for and saying just how bad off that we are in our view of God and thinking that we have anything to do with salvation, because it's all about Christ. Please go tell people. Please go tell people. It is so important.